Hi, Dr. Waters. This is Laronica Booker here to present my summary reflection for Unit 2, Week 2 presentation. I was the person responsible for submitting the presentation for this week, and my presentation was entitled Ensuring Documentation Compliance Completeness, or actually Improving Documentation Compliance Completeness. I actually believe that I did a pretty good job on the presentation. I feel like that is one of my strong points, completing PowerPoints and conveying information to those that are reading it or receiving it. That is something that I do on my primary day job, and I am responsible for doing education, and a lot of times this education is done through PowerPoint, so I feel like I covered all of the bases with the PowerPoint. I don't believe that I had any major errors in syntax and grammar and spelling and things like that. However, I do realize that I did leave off my references at the end of the PowerPoint, and so I'm sorry for that. In addition to that, some of the slides I did read, and then I did add a little bit of information on some of them, but I wanted to kind of stick to the information that was presented on the slides so that I didn't veer too much and just kind of go off on a tangent and start talking, because the information is something that I'm close to, and I could have easily gone off on a tangent. So that is something that I tried to stay a little bit closer to with the material in the PowerPoint. As far as the learnings from the presentation, the project itself, the proposal for the project, ensuring documentation completeness or improving the documentation compliance completeness for discharge summaries, is something that, again, is really close to me. That's something I work with the inpatient team quite often, and we do a lot of education now for this to make sure that we stay in compliance with Joint Commission. So this project was something that's really close to me, and throughout this project, I was able to learn kind of some of the intricacies of how the doctors and the physicians and other ancillary staff, what they think about documentation. And that just kind of gives you an insight on how to perform, or not perform, but how to administer the education. Some people actually like the information emailed to them versus being done face-to-face. For us, doing it by email kind of put you in the place of not knowing if the information was really read or received. So that's why we do the face-to-face. But it was just good to kind of work with physicians and hear their thoughts on different parts of education and what they felt the reasons were for their not doing the parts of the discharge, certain parts of the discharge summary. And then finally, that's kind of part of the learnings from it. My personal reflection on it is, as being in healthcare, I feel like patient care is of the utmost of importance. That is the number one thing that we need to pay attention to. Now, I know our physicians, most of the time they're ticked off because of the documentation and so much paperwork and so much of the political, if you will, that they have to take care of. But I feel like it's so very important to make sure that you do those things so that the patient is taken care of. So sometimes you have to do a little grunt work to make sure that on the end that things are taken care of the way they need to be. So the continuity of patient care does go on with the correct and proper documentation of this discharge summary. And so that's why I kind of feel like I'm a little passionate about that, because our patients are going other places. They're not always staying and receiving treatment at our facility at all times. They're going other places. And so this document goes with them. It travels with them to wherever their next level of care is. And so we need to make sure that this document is as complete and comprehensive as possible and done on time, so that not only just for us on the billing side of things, but that the patient can receive the care that they need from their doctors in other places. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation for the week. I look forward to the other presentations in the next upcoming weeks from my peers. Thank you so very much.